And we're also thrilled with the guest that we have coming up. And, of course, Brandon Big B, who is a co-host to this show and often is in the studio with us. He is here with us today, and he's calling from Guatemala. And he also has with him a surprise guest to me, a gentleman by the name of Lloyd Monroe. And I'm going to let Brandon tell you more about all of this. But the bottom line, Brandon and his family and other people in his life are down in Guatemala building some homes for people who are third world, and it's this being done through a huge ministry. Lloyd Monroe is in charge of that ministry in that area, and this is a surprise for me. It's a wonderful treat for me because Lloyd Monroe and I went to school together. I mean, back in high school days. I think he was a couple of years younger than I am, but I remember him well. I know his family. I know his dad real well, and the rest of his family. And now, of course, he's all grown up like I am. He's an old man like I am. He's younger than I am, though. He's married. He's been an attorney. He's an attorney, but they're living in Guatemala. I'm going to get him to tell his story. And Brandon, Lloyd, are you guys with us?
Yes, I know that I am. Lloyd, are you here?
I'm here. I knew Carl when his hair was long.
Yes, you did. hey, but back then that was all cool and everything. Yeah. But Lloyd, by the way, you're fired. You'll never be on the show again.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'm kidding, man. You can say whatever you want to say. Brandon Big B, co-host of Freedom Friday, man, calling from Guatemala. We've got a good connection. Tell the folks kind of what's going on, and you and Lloyd, just bring Lloyd in, and let's tell the folks about this. This is pretty exciting.
No, absolutely. Been looking forward to this all week. And just listen, kind of before I get started, everybody will be refreshed to know that today I will be talking no politics and no world events.
I can't even believe that. I think you're lying.
Somebody just passed out somewhere driving down the road listening to the radio.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know if I even believe that or not, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, listen, bottom line is my wife and I are here, and we're here working with two other churches this week, Los Fissa Methodist Church out of Jefferson County, Florida, and then Sharon Baptist Church out of McDonough, Georgia, just south of Atlanta. Uh-huh. And been a pleasure to be here working with people from both of those churches. And, it's just amazing. Here in Guatemala, we are actually in the city, and Lloyd, I apologize, I'm going to mess this name up, Panajachel, Guatemala. And the city of Panajachel is actually fairly modern for Central American standards. But as we go out of here every day and go into the villages, into the mountainous regions, and work with the indigenous people here, it's amazing. And by the way, the indigenous people here are direct descendants of the Mayans.
Wow.
Everybody, of course, will remember 2012. That's kind of made the Mayans famous again here the last couple of years. But so that's the people that we've been working with here. But Lloyd has such a unique ministry here, and it's unbelievable because I have said this for a long time. I know Mike Shoesmith and I have had some very in-depth conversations about how we need to be reaching people for Jesus these days.
Right.
Because, listen, in the United States, we just can go to church and worship, or we can set up on the street corner and preach Jesus. We can have crusades in the street. But, guys, it doesn't work that way everywhere in the world.
That's right.
And we have to be creative. We have to be what Paul said. We have to be all things to all people.
Right, and especially in these prophetic times in which we're living. Lloyd, yeah, go ahead, Brad.
That's exactly right. And I promise I'm going to let Lloyd speak here in a minute, but I just want to give him a little bit more credit and just tell people a little bit more before we bring him in here. But, the bottom line is what he has done here and set him up and the way that he has established himself among the local people here and proven himself to be real and the things that he's willing to do. It's been a blessing to see that this week. It's been a blessing to be a part of that this week. He and his wife, Miss Melanie, just wonderful people that have given up lucrative things in the United States to come here and do what they thought God called them to do.
Yeah.
And after being here for a week and seeing it, I can tell you that they are definitely following what God called them to do. So let's let Lloyd get a word in edgewise here.
Lloyd, listen. First of all, I just want you to tell our listeners just a little bit about your life's journey, because you and I have known each other since we were kids. We've known each other's wives since they were kids. We've all known each other since childhood. This is the first time I've talked to you in 40 years probably. But here we are, and so tell folks. I mean, you became an attorney and a successful attorney, but you gave all that up. You've moved to Guatemala. You've been there for years. You're helping people not only come to Christ, but you're meeting their physical needs. So kind of tell that story and that journey, and then tell us about what you're doing down there and how some of our listeners could get involved if they wanted to.
Very well. Thank you, fellas. And it's been a pleasure to get to know Brandon this week, and also, Carl, to connect with you after a long time. I think the last time we talked, I was broke down on US 27, and you picked me up and gave me a ride. You probably don't remember that. But
was I a deputy sheriff then, or was I just a guy riding along and picked you up?
I don't remember if you were in your deputy car or you were a private citizen, but we ran hot, and you picked me up, and we had a chance to talk. That might have been the last time we talked.
It may have been. That's amazing.
That's been a long time ago.
It sure has.
But as Carl said, I am from Jefferson County, Florida, as is my wife, from a little town called Joaquina. It's a farming community. I grew up on a farm and was the first person in my family to go to college. Had good academic ability and was able to do well in college and law school. Now, I grew up in the church, but as a young man, I made a mistake of thinking that it had to be the button-down church style didn't work for me well. So for about 14 years, I took a very wayward path in my later years in high school and college and law school. But God got a hold of me when we started having children, and I was led to be authentic, be real, not be fake, and not put on a front. Now, I'm not saying I don't have any of that in me. I was a civil trial lawyer. You got to have a little bit of show there, usually defending lawsuits, and that was a good thing for us. But through our involvement in the Methodist Church in Cuba, we started getting our comfortable middle-class church world broken apart by seeing how the people in Cuba, in an oppressed society, were really, and I hate to use a cliche, but sold out right to the kingdom. And that challenged us. It got us ready. And then in 2004, just as a member of a short-term mission team coming to Guatemala, I had almost a vision of a ministry like Puerto de Solomon here in Panajachel, in the world's number 4 hippie travel destination worldwide.
Wow. Why is that, Lloyd?
Well, there's only about 15,000 people in this town, but we're on Lake Atitlan, the world's most beautiful lake. And it's a mile high, and the climate's wonderful, 3 volcanoes, and it's attracted people, expatriates and hippies, for years and years and years. So they found it a long time ago, but this town became post-Christian, if you will, before the United States became post-Christian.
Yeah.
And I just had this idea that we could use the giftings that God had given us of relation, of live music. I spent a lot of my time involved in live music outreach, which includes playing in rock and roll bands in the bars of Panajachel.
Wow.
That's been the biggest dialogue builder for us, other than our humanitarian relief that we do. So I'm not sure if this is making sense, but we do a lot of different things. We try to, and it sounds like a cliche, but to be Jesus and to say yes.
Yeah.
Well, we can meet a need and say yes. That's what we try to do.
Yeah.
Through our year-round humanitarian relief, hosting teams like Brandon's been on. So it's been a wild ride. There's been some downs, but the ups make up for the downs.
Right. And you're involved with a ministry called Solomon's Porch. Tell people about that and how people that are listening could get involved with that, either physically, logistically, or financially, or whatever. Tell folks about Solomon's Porch.
There are numerous Solomon's Porch ministries around the world, so don't get us confused with the one, for example, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Our ministry is actually Porch-Solomon. That's PORCHDE.
Okay.
SALOMON, and then .org is our website. We're on Facebook, and it takes money to do what we do, but people have been really generous with us. We build about 10 quality houses a year. We host medical clinics and dental clinics. We have everybody from little ladies who are sending in $20 a month to people that are able to make a much more substantial contribution. We invite people to come down and experience. We're a progressive ministry style. You can probably catch that. If I'm going in with a rock and roll band and playing in the bars of Panajachel, and also teaching on Sunday afternoon at our worship gatherings. I call that progressive, moving forward, not being hidebound. So it really works for a lot of people who, what Brandon and I, we talked about churchianity, the worship of the church, and just showing up, nice place for nice people to go to do nice things. That's not working for a lot of people now. So we're happy and we're proud and we praise God that He's gifted us for this ministry and that it's working.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, Lloyd. Folks, welcome back. Freedom Friday. Carl Gallups, my guest this afternoon. Brandon Big B, co-host to this show, and Lloyd Monroe. They're both in Guatemala. Brandon, very quickly, just give a quick update for those just joining us on where you are, what you're doing, and then you and Lloyd just talk to us about all this. This is fascinating.
Yes, I am talking live right now from the city of Panajachel, Guatemala. And just real quick, a couple of the things that that I have seen and been able to be a part of this week. And this ministry encompasses so much more and multiples at the same time of everything I'm getting ready to talk about. But bottom line is, I was able to this week be a part with both of these other teams, Wasissa Methodist Church and Sharon Baptist Church out of McDonough, Georgia, actually building and constructing a block home for an indigenous Mayan lady here who is a single mother of 4 beautiful children and 33 years old. And I mean, I'm talking about folks, you know, just I don't want to sound condescending at all, but imagine what we build for dog houses. And, you know, you've been to Peru, obviously, many times, and you understand the living conditions there.
Oh, yeah.
That's how many of these people are living. A little tin hut at best, where they have one room, and they're literally all sleeping on a dirt floor, and cooking over an open fire with no ventilation in the same room.
And tell folks how they use the restroom.
Well, they at best will have another little tin hut outside with a bucket and a hole in the ground. Yeah,
at best. Yeah. At best. I've seen it way worse than that.
Yeah. And so I was able to be a part. Actually, my uncle and I, Randy Tinker, both are Masons, come out of a masonry background. So we were actually able to, huge joy for us, to participate with local Mayan Masons, if you will, laying block on a home for this lady.
Wow,
that's
it
was unbelievable. Now, other things that I have been a part of is we went and visited a family that Porch de Solomon will potentially be helping in the future for the first time. First time they had made a visit to the home, and we were a part of that. Horrible living conditions beyond description. Several children in the home, again, all sleeping on a dirt floor, cooking in the same room, open fire, and no food in the house. Children obviously malnourished. We were able to all pitch in and go to the little local store right around the corner, and basically between all the teams that were there, we literally were able to almost buy the store out of everything nutritious that they had and take it back to the family. They sponsor kids into school here. School doesn't work like it does in the United States. You pay to go to school here. And to help these families, these are some numbers that I've heard this week, and Lloyd, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like $60 American a month feeds one of these families.
Right.
250 American dollars a year sends one of these elementary age kids to school. About 500 American dollars a year sends one of the high school age kids to school. 6,000 or 7,000 American dollars builds one of these homes for somebody.
Right.
And I was so convicted particularly when I heard that $250 number of sending a kid to school. I mean, my wife and I have blown that here this week on gifts and trinkets.
Right.
And you could have sent a kid to school.
I know. Lloyd, listen, I got to jump in here and say, Lloyd, first of all, God bless you and thank you for what you're doing. And I know there are others around the world doing similar work, but we know you, and you're on the air with us. So thank you for this kingdom work, Lloyd.
Thank you for the encouragement, brother.
Absolutely. And listen, Lloyd, I got to give you another blast from your past. So I'm sitting here. We're doing the show live. My cell phone is blowing up with text from people that I know that are listening to the show. And I got a text from a guy. I'll tell you his name in a moment. He just texted me, and he said, I know Lloyd Monroe, too. He said he's a wonderful guy, always an ethical and brilliant attorney. And this comes from a man who's been a long-time friend of mine, who isn't a brilliant attorney himself, but he's also now a county judge in Escambia County, Florida, and that's Judge Tom Danheiser. And
yes, I know him.
Yes, I know you guys know. I mean, what a small world. And Judge Danheiser is here. He's texting me listening to the show saying, I know Lloyd Monroe. He's wonderful. He's ethical. He's brilliant. And so let me just say, Lloyd, you're a little younger than I am, so I'm not trying to be condescending, but I've known you since you were a kid. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you, brother, again for encouragement. And Judge Danheiser, good to hear from you.
Yeah, it is great. And all the others that are blowing my phone up. Hey, Lloyd, very quickly, tell folks how they can be a part of this ministry again.
Well, we invite you to come down. We invite you to make tax-deductible donations. And again, our website is www.porch.org, Salomon.org.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also on Facebook. There's all kind of ways to get involved. Big B did a good job of running down some needs that we have. We also have water filters to give a family the gift of clean water for $90. So everything costs money. We appreciate your prayers to back the money, but it does take money to do all this, and we'd love to explore hosting a team. We host teams of folks that aren't church folks, and that's a real thrill for me, for people that have never thought they would be, quote, good, end quote, enough to be a missionary, to come down, get their hands dirty, and see ministry in the round as we do it, so to speak, in the world's #4 hippie travel destination. So we have all kind of ways to get involved.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's amazing. So, Brandon, you probably going to go back, huh?
Oh, absolutely. We're already making plans to come back and maybe even do more, be involved in some even more unique things than what they have going on right now. So,
right.
Listen, Lloyd and his wife have, through the power of God.
We've got 60 seconds, Brandon. We've got 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Bottom line is this. Let me just say this. You hear this kind of thing all over the place, send money, and Lloyd's not saying that. I'm going to tell you this. I have seen hands-on what goes on here, and if anybody wants to help this place out, I would encourage them to do that, whether that be financially through prayers or for coming down here and being part of something that could change your life forever and definitely change someone else's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Give that website again, Lloyd.
Porch de Salomon. That's PorchDeSalomon.org.
Okay, Porch de Salomon, and in case you're riding down the road right now, say, I'll never remember that. Just remember, just Google it when you get home, and Google will take care of it for you. Porch de Salomon. It's in Guatemala. Lloyd Monroe directing that. My son, Brandon, down there, Brandon Big B, in Guatemala. Awesome ministry. Thank you guys for being on the show today. Thank you for this amazing report, for the work you're doing, for the kingdom work. This is a wonderful way to end this show on a great, positive, biblical, spiritual, uplifting note. God bless both of you.
Igualmente.
Ok, igualmente. Gracias por hablando conmigo en español.
Por nada. Por nada.
Por nada. Dios te bendiga ricamente, mi caballero, mi hermano. Hey, guys. Yeah, God bless you.